listening to it as a recording. If you're interested in independent travelling and learning to do that, or Kathleen, if there are people in your area who your workers want to know more about this, if they contact Values Into Action Scotland after the event, and when you've listened to the videos and what we're doing, then they will give you information and help you to figure out how that can happen where you are. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce you formally to Lauren Mackey and Sylvia Wilson from ScotRail, who are going to give us a presentation, and this presentation is specifically about travelling safely on the train right now in this time that we find ourselves. Good luck, girls.
Oh, thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Kath. Perfect. Well, hi everyone. I'm Lauren. Sylvia and I are delighted to be here and to continue to work with Values Into Action. And we know how you're going to travel to work is a big consideration when you're applying for jobs. Just before we start, can I ask everyone to mute themselves apart from Kath, please? Just so that we can get through the presentation. And once we've finished, we're going to open it up to a Q&A, so you'll be able to, fire your questions.
I'll just mute too, and then if I need to, I can unmute. That makes it
That's
easier
fine.
for everybody, okay?
Yeah, perfect. So basically, as we go through the presentation, I'm going to ask if you can do some thumbs up reactions. So Kath, if you could help manage that and let me know if people are on the same page as we go forwards. Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. So today I will be talking about why you should commute by train and the tools and information that will help you to do that safely. To do this, I'm going to be using the example of Sally and talking you through her experience using the train for her new job. Just before we start, I want to try and get a sense of everyone in the group of your experience of using the train. So can practice the thumbs up reaction. Can you give me a thumbs up if you've travelled on a train before? Oh, everyone? Oh, perfect, great, good, there you go. Well, you'll still hopefully learn some new tips or information that you didn't before. So let's get started. Oh, here we go. So Sally is getting ready to start a new job. She's thinking about how she's going to travel there each day. She has to use public transport and she has a national entitlement card. She has to use a stick to help her get around. She has used a train before and she enjoyed it, but she's never travelled alone. Sally's been thinking about how she's going to get to work, and she's been told that getting the train could be the quickest option for her. Why could travelling by train be a good option if you're trying to get to your work? One of the reasons could be that the train is one of the most reliable ways for you to get to your work, just because our timetables very rarely change. So if you're turning up to the station to get onto your train each day, it's very likely it's going to be leaving at the same time. So there's less risk or less chance of you missing your train and getting to work late. She's also looking for something that's going to be straightforward, something that will have little changes for her, having to move on to different forms of transport. And again, because trains can only go forward or backwards, the train that's pulling up that says it's going to Glasgow, if you get on it, you're definitely going to get to Glasgow. There's no chance you're going to get lost somewhere. And lastly, she wants to be able to relax. She wants to get to work and be stress-free, doesn't want to get to work in a panic. And if you get on the train, she can sit back and look mostly at the nice scenery outside and just relax before she starts work. So with all of that, Sally's decided that the train's going to be the easiest and quickest way for her to get to her work. What can Sally do to get used to travelling by train? The first thing I would recommend is to go to her local station. Get familiar with the platforms, get familiar with the station, and introduce yourself to our staff. Most, if not all of them, are very friendly and will be able to help you, will be able to give you advice on what train you need to catch and just look out for you in general. And after you've done that, I would recommend taking a practice trip before your first day at work. I think we all know that when you're a bit anxious and you're a bit stressed to start something new, you want to know you're going to get there on time and feel comfortable with it. So the best way is just to practice it for yourself and get used to it. So Sally's decided that she's going to take a practice trip. She's a little bit nervous as she's obviously introduced herself to the staff, but she's aware that in some of our stations there are no staff there, and she's worried in case there's a point of her journey where she's looking for some help and she's not quite sure what to do. Should Sally use this? What do we think? Thumbs up if we think yes. Thumbs up if we think yeah. Some thumbs up. Good to see. Well, you're right. Yes. This is actually our help point, which you can find in all of our stations. So if your train hasn't arrived or you feel unsafe or you don't see any staff around you, if you press this button, you will be taken through to our customer service staff. They will be able to see you. They're actually in Paisley as well. They'll be able to see you and hear you and be able to offer you any assistance you require, and they are live anytime. So you are never going to be alone when you're at a platform, or even if you're out. I would say if you're out somewhere and you're lost and you see a station, if you go there, you always know you can speak to someone who's going to be able to help you. So Sally now needs to get her ticket. So where can she buy one? Has anyone used our app before? Just, nope, no worries. So you can actually buy a ticket through our app, but our app's probably the best purpose for it for you is to see if your train is on time or not. So as you can see in this picture, it gives you a great day for us, generally all good service. So it's always good, I think, in the morning before you go to your work, just to check that everything's okay. And another good thing about the train is that we update that live, so you can see if you might need to make any changes. So you can buy a ticket on an app, or you could use our ticket machines that are in all of our stations. But I would say the best option for you, if you're not very confident or used to travelling or doing your journey, is to go to a booking office and to speak to our staff directly, as they're going to be able to let you know what train type is the best option for you, the best time, etc. if you're trying to get to work at a certain time, obviously, and particularly if it's going to be busy and stuff like that. I would just say the best option is to always speak to our staff. They're the most knowledgeable for you. So I think I mentioned that Sally has a national entitlement card. Can she use this when she's buying a train ticket? What do we think? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? Not sure. Thumbs up? Thumbs up? Yes, well done, everyone. Yes, you can. So basically, in certain areas, your national entitlement card can entitle you to discounted travel and a companion. So this is why I think it's really useful if you are going to a staff member. They're going to be able to advise you that if you just show it when you're buying your ticket. So yes, and in the Strathclyde area, you can get a return for only $150. There you go. So obviously, there's information on our website at specific areas and on councils as well. But also, if you are a job seeker or if you've been out of work for around 3 months, you are entitled to get 2 free tickets per month for travel to interviews and a free 1 month ticket once you get a job. This isn't very relevant for Sally currently, but is obviously useful for other people. So that's something I think Kath hasn't necessarily mentioned, but we're going to be handing out some information, which I'll include this as well, as I think it's a really good offer for people and can help you, obviously, particularly once you've started a job that first month before you get paid, so you'll have your travel free and sorted. So Sally's got her ticket. Now she needs to find her train. The booking office staff told Sally her train is leaving at 8:15 a.m. from platform 2. So Sally checks the information screens, which you can see here on our platforms and this famous one at Central Station. So she sees the train is leaving from platform 1. She then hears an announcement saying that the train is leaving at 8:15 from platform 1. She goes to platform 1, but she's still unsure if she's at the right place. She asks a nearby staff member. They let her know that the next train is going to be the one that she needs to get on. So Sally sees the yellow line. Now, it's very important, especially the railways are very live, can be quite a dangerous environment. If you see the yellow line, make sure to stand behind it. Our trains can move pretty fast in and out of the station, so this is your safest place to stand just before the train comes in. So the train arrives and Sally stands back to let people off. She then goes up and presses to open the doors. Sally is careful and takes her time to get on, as there's a gap between the platform and the train. Sally has made it onto the train and sits down next to the window. She hears an alarm sound coming from the train doors. What does that mean? Well, that means stand back. That happens about 30 seconds before train is about to leave. So you need to stand back from the doors. If you're running a little bit late, you're going to have to wait for the next train as well, unfortunately. But if you hear that sound, stand back as the train's going to take off. So Sally is now on the train. She wants to check what stop is next. So a staff member comes over to check her ticket. Again, if you've gotten on the train, I would recommend having your ticket ready just so you can show the staff member. Sally asks what the next stop is. The conductor then asks her when she's going to be getting off and lets her know that she has 7 stops to go. This is again a really good technique if you're a little bit nervous that you might miss your stop, is again because our trains are on a straight line, you can count how many stops you have until you need to get off. Sally is listening now and hears an announcement for her stop. When she hears this, she knows she needs to get ready to get off. You can also look at the screens on the train as well. As you can see here, on almost all of our train carriages, it will tell you what the next stop is. Sally also counted the stops till she needed to get off and was ready to go when she gets to the station. Again, as I mentioned, I think I'll keep mentioning this, but the best thing I would recommend is to introduce yourself to the staff at the station and on the train, because at the time they're going to be the ones that will be able to give you the support, and it's just nice for them to know that you're there, and you can just say that you're not necessarily sure when your stop is, and they'll be able to come and help you. So all went well. Sally made it. However, she was a little bit nervous as she was the only passenger on the carriage. She was worried in case she's travelling alone. If anything went wrong, what should she do? So if Sally's feeling a little bit anxious, or if you're feeling a bit anxious if you're on a carriage on your own, the best thing to do is, if you can, once the train stopped at a station, and you can walk through to another carriage where there are a little bit more people, just so you're around other people, and I think it's a little bit safer. Sally should also tell the conductor if she's feeling a little bit nervous as well. But again, if Sally doesn't see anyone around her, you can still text the BTP. You'll see this, it's good to just have this on your phone if you're traveling, but you'll see these posters around all of our carriages, and they will come to the next station if there's a disruption or if you're afraid. So there is, again, always going to be someone that can help you if you are traveling on the train. So all said and good, Sally enjoyed the trip and is looking forward to traveling on the train for her first day at work. However, Sally realised that she'd feel a little bit more confident having some assistance to get on and off the train with a ramp. So Sally decides to book through our passenger assistance service. So you can call this number, which again I'll be sending out the information with a little leaflet, but you can call up or you can book online, and essentially you just have to book 2 hours before you start. 2 hours before you have your journey, and you can receive assistance with ramps, mobility assistance, or if you just want someone to know that you're coming on and off of a train. So again, if you're feeling a little bit nervous that you're going to maybe miss your stop, this our passenger assistance service is going to alert staff that you were on the train, so they'll know that they need to help you. So again, this is just an extra confidence boost if you're a little bit nervous about traveling on our trains. So Sally used the train for her first day of work. She prepared for her journey, speaking to staff and being able to relax on the train helped her to arrive at work calm and ready to get stuck in. She'll continue to use the train as she goes forward. So hearing Sally's journey and just a little bit of the information I've done so far, would you feel a little bit more confident to travel by train to get to work? Can you give me a thumbs up if that's the case? Oh, yay, perfect, thank you. So perfect, that's my kind of first half complete. So obviously I mentioned at the end of the workshop we're going to have a Q&A, so I'm seeing the chat box going off so I'm sure maybe I have some questions and we can answer those at the end and also discuss some of your experiences. And again, as I mentioned, you're going to be receiving a handout with some of the key information that I mentioned, so you can keep that and share that out. So I'll stop sharing now. So now that Sally is a little bit more confident to travel, she is going to have to do it a little bit differently because of COVID-19. So I'd like to hand you over to my colleague, Sylvia Wilson, who is one of our safety managers at ScotRail. She's going to tell you about the 5 safety rules we currently have in place to protect you and others when travelling during COVID-19. Off you go. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Here you are, I'm now unmuted. Thanks, Lauren. So we've heard how easy it is to travel about on the train, and there's lots of help and assistance there for you from the beginning to the end of your journey. But as you're aware, we're in COVID-19, and to make the journey a little bit safer and stopping the spread of the virus, there's certain adjustments that we're going to have to make to our journeys, our travel. So that's what I'm going to have a wee chat about. And again, as we did through Lauren's presentation, we've got the wee thumbs up button because there'll be some questions that I'll be asking. And there's a chat box there if you've got any questions that I can answer at the end of the presentation. So COVID-19 that we're going through at the moment, there are adjustments that we've got to make. And you're probably already making adjustments just now in your day-to-day life, such as if you're going out to the shops or you've maybe travelled by a bus. Can you think of some of the adjustments that you've been making? It might be that you've started to wear a face covering, or using hand sanitizer, washing your hands more often, ensuring you're keeping physical distance from others. Do you all relate to this? Have you been doing this in your day-to-day life? Can I have a thumbs up? A thumbs up. Great, so we're all aware. So we're going to be chatting about that. This is our new norm, nothing any different. And there's a few other things that we're going to have to do as well to ensure that we're safe while travelling on ScotRail Railways during COVID-19. So let's have a wee look at what Sally needs to know and do to keep safe when travelling during COVID-19. So the first thing is we would like our customers and Sally to wear a face covering when she's at the station and on train. Now, not everybody is able to wear a face covering. This could be due to a medical condition. And in this case, Sally, she's not able to wear a face covering. But what she does wear is this lanyard and card, which lets others know the reason why she's not wearing a face covering. You might have one of these already or have seen them. Can I have a thumbs up if you're aware of these lanyards and the cards? If you've not got one, they're easy enough to get a hold of from Hidden Disabilities website. So not everyone's aware of the lanyards. We are now. Another way of keeping safe is to ensure that you carry hand sanitizer. We're washing our hands more often. So Sally's doing this as well. She's carrying her own hand sanitizer and she's going to use it at the beginning of her journey and at the end. Now, we established at the beginning, a lot of you have already travelled on ScotRail services and been in the station. And here's some sites that you might see that are a little bit different, and this is due to the COVID-19. So you will see our staff wearing the masks. And to help ensure that there is physical distancing, we have some vinyls that we're putting on the floor, spacing them out of where your safe distances to stand. On escalators, and some escalators, there's markings of where to stand to ensure you're getting physical distance. You'll also notice the seating at our stations. It'll be taped off, certain seats will be taped off, and there'll be a notice there to not sit in them. And again, this is to ensure physical distance. You'll be hearing announcements, and there's information on screens and posters at stations as well, giving you information on how to keep safe at our stations and on train during COVID-19. One of the posters that Sally would see on her travels is ScotRail's 5 rules for safer travel. And that's what I'm going to chat about just now. We'll look at each rule and what they mean to us. So rule number 1, don't travel if you feel unwell. So if you don't feel well, or if you have COVID-19 symptoms, do not travel and stay at home. So are you aware of what the symptoms are for COVID-19? It's if you've got a high temperature, a new continuous cough, and also a loss of smell and taste. So if you're feeling these symptoms, we're asking you to stay at home and not travel. So let's look at Sally. Sally's at the station and she doesn't feel well. There's a train coming in. Should Sally get on the train? Can I have a thumbs up for a yes? Good, no. That's right. Sally should not travel. She should, if she starts feeling unwell at the station, she should start making her way home. If you feel ill at home, these symptoms at home, we ask you to stay at home. Rule number 2 is to avoid these main commuting times. So we ask you to try not to use the train between 7 and 9 in the morning and 4 and 6:30 in the evening. And the reason why is that these are our busiest trains. So they're best to avoid because it's going to maybe be harder to keep this physical distancing. It's maybe better to try and go for a quieter train. Now Sally, she needs to be in her work for 9:15. Her journey time on the train is 30 minutes. So should Sally travel on the 8:30 train to work? Can we have a thumbs up for no, Sally shouldn't be travelling at this time? So if you agree, she shouldn't be using the train at 8:30. That's it. I like to see all those thumbs. Yeah. So it's advisable, try to travel out with these times when the trains are quieter. So Sally can maybe travel on a later train and speak to her employer and advise that she would like to come in on a later train, not wanting to travel on the busier trains. And our employers are far more flexible nowadays. They don't want their employees to be travelling at peak time and travelling on busy, crowded trains. So they're a bit more flexible in working with you at getting and coming in a little bit later or a bit earlier. And as Lauren has said, it'd be ideal before you go and start in the workplace, get to know the station, try different times, go to the station, see how busy the platforms are, how busy the trains are, to work out when is the best time for you travelling into work and home from work. On to rule 3 now, which is don't board the train if you think it's not safe. So what does not safe mean? Well, not safe means if the train's very busy, there are not enough empty seats, people are standing on the train, then maybe it's best not to board and wait for the next train to help ensure we're keeping our physical distance. So Sally's standing at the platform and she sees the train coming in and there's lots of people standing on the platform. She can see there's hardly any empty seats on the train. People are standing. Should Sally get on? Thumbs up if you think that she should get on the train. No. Lots of shaking their head. Don't get on the train. Stand back and wait for the next train to come. Rule number 4 asks that you cover your face and maintain physical distancing. So we ask if you're able to. We're aware that some are not able to wear the face masks, and that's okay. But if you are, we ask if you can wear a face covering when you're in the station and on the way. So at the beginning of your journey into the station, on the train, and then when you get off at the other end of the station. Once you're out the station, to take face covering off. And we also say, stay a safe distance from other people. So throughout this, I've been talking about keeping a physical distance, keep a safe distance from other people. Do you know what the minimum safe distance is from other people? Is it 2 meters? If you think that's the right answer, give me a thumbs up. So you might actually be surprised there has been a change in this ruling for at the station and train station on transport, that the minimum distance is now 1 metre. So stay apart from other people, 1 metre apart on the platform and on train. If you can keep apart 2 metres, that's excellent, but we're aware more and more people are going to be travelling, so we've now got a minimum distance of 1 metre. And on to our last rule, and that is be patient. Most seats need to be empty. So ScotRail, we need to keep empty seats on the train, again, to ensure physical distance. And you might need to wait for the next train, or you might need to stand on the train. And this might seem strange to you or Sally when you're travelling, to see empty seats, to see people standing, but it is important that we keep our physical distance from each other to help stop the spread of COVID-19 virus. So be prepared and be patient. Be prepared, you might need to stand and leave these empty seats. That's the end of our presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it informative. Laura and I are now open to questions. If you've not got any questions at the moment, some might come to you at a later date. Here's Laura and I's contact email details. Feel free to email us at any time if you've got any query. We hope to see you out on the trains and travelling with us soon. If you do, enjoy your journey. Remember your 5 rules for safer travel.
Thanks very much. Thank you. That was really interesting, and absolutely typically ScotRail, bang on time.
There you go.
And giving us some time to talk. James, are you still with us? Yeah. James, are you still there? Can you unmute?
It's on mute.
Yep. Okay. Great stuff.
Sorry.
So we had a few questions there.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one was: is the information service at the stations operating in the evening? Because what you'll hear from some of the young people is that they work shifts, and they're travelling maybe early morning, but some of them might be travelling in the evening and at weekends.
Perfect. Our help points are live from 5:30 in the morning until midnight every day, so 7 days a week.
So the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
Then? Yep. Okay. Fantastic. The next question was: how does ScotRail let people know about passenger assist? How do you publicise it?
It's on our website.
Okay. Maybe we could
social media
on the
as well.
website too.
Yeah.
After this, yeah.
So I think part of our work with VIAS has been engaging with different stakeholders and groups that can help to share out the information to people that don't have access to the internet or will see our social media, because we do, I think as a quite a large company, rely on that as our method of comms, but doesn't necessarily work for everybody. So yeah, we do kind of rely on organisations like VIAS to help us to share out our information. But
can I say that? Sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to.
When we were doing the travel project, you'll see I put up a wee thing there saying that's my friend Jackie on the cart. And when we were doing the project last year, Sylvia and Lauren came down to Greenock and did a little session with 3 men who, for various reasons, were very anxious about travelling by train. They'd had bad experiences and things, and Sylvia took them through, listened to everything that they were saying, answered them, and then we all went on the train, and Sylvia talked us through all the stuff that you saw there, the help points, looking at the boards, the body cameras that the staff wear. They got to see all of that as well, and then Jackie and his support worker got to go on the car, and they were delighted with that. That was great fun. They were whizzing around Central Station, and all of that is free. And it was, and I didn't know about it until we started doing this project. So I think for support workers, for parents, for job coaches out there, it's a fantastic thing, and you just need to contact Lauren and it will get organised. You can do it for an individual person, you can do it for groups. And what I learned about it as well is it's not just for people with learning disabilities, physical disability, visual impairment, young mums travelling on the train for the first time, anxious with prams, etc., maybe toddlers, whatever. Fantastic service, so it was brilliant to do that. Okay.
Sorry, Kath, can I just say it was me that asked that question, because I think ScotRail should be congratulated. This is just a fabulous service, but like a lot of fabulous services, the general public don't know about it, you know. And the thought that came into my head was that young people would really, really benefit. A lot of the young people that we've worked with would really, really benefit from this kind of assistance.
Okay.
And I wondered if there's a link with VIAS into Young Scot, because all young people are entitled to a Young Scot card, and with that comes lots and lots of information about discounts for shops and about access to all sorts of things. And young people use a Young Scot card because it gives them benefits. And I just wonder if ScotRail through VIAS could link into Young Scot, because so many more young people would find out about this if it was through a kind of national body like Young Scot. Because I know there's some great work going on at Edinburgh Airport as well for young people with autism. I think these services are absolutely vital, because it can be the difference between young people taking a job or not, or joining a college course or not. If the transport and travel links are not there, parents don't have the confidence to let their young people join things. So I think this is fabulous, and congratulations to ScotRail. But I do think you need to find a way of getting this out to people, because unless you go through organisations like VIAS, who are also very professional and great at what they do, people just won't know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. Definitely.
Well, I'll pass that. There will be a debrief meeting of the teams and whatever, so we'll pass that back. And I'm sure with the link still continuing, with David McDonald being the new job coach involved in Let's Get Moving, and the also ScotRail being part of the BOSS project, you know, that those relationships will continue and grow and develop lots of ideas and things as well. Okay, so the next question was: is the support available to people not on the job seeker support? Is it available to people not on universal credit?
So I think I shared the information that you can click on if you want to look at the criteria, but this specific offer is for people who are claiming job seekers allowance or universal credit. However, we do have a different kind of partnership model, working with organisations that like the YS group, etc. So we are open. So
okay, I obviously wasn't listening to technical rehearsals or didn't pick up on this. So those things that you've shared they'll still be available after we go out of this workshop, or do I need to break that down? So we can get it again.
I think I've shared it to you. Everyone will get access.
I'm not sure if things in the chat,
I think they might disappear
along with the workshop.
But just to say, if anyone's listening to this on a later date, obviously Sylvia and I are very open to anyone who'd be interested in some of what we've discussed about sharing out about passenger assistance, or I'm currently working on a project or a campaign around our help points and how to essentially increase awareness of them, is actually working with VIAS. We found out that a lot of people didn't even know that they could use them, and it did really make a big difference knowing that if some of our stations don't have staff, so knowing that our help points are there, that you can use them. And there's some really good stories of people who have used them if they weren't really sure what train to get and stuff. So yeah, if anyone, I'm very open to working with more groups.
Yeah, and that was part of when we did the passenger assist. The guys all got to have a go at that and press the button and talk to somebody and ask them questions and whatever as well, so they could actually see it and see how it works, not just a picture. This is what you do, because you don't know that. So they actually got to do it. It was fantastic. I wanted to know, for the empty seats, are they taped off?
Not on train, no.
Okay. So people wouldn't necessarily, so that they would go and sit next to somebody. So that's something that maybe support workers and things to add into their teaching just now, because there's an empty seat doesn't necessarily mean you can sit on it Yeah, that's
sit on
right.
it.
Some
We're
of the
asking
buses,
for
you're taking off the seats.
they're taken off. We're not going to be doing that. We're aware that there might be families wanting to sit together, and that's fine. It's just
okay. Yeah.
individuals not to. So there's notices on the train, but we're kind of looking every other seat to be left empty to ensure the 1 metre.
Stations, are there pictures and explanations of that up anywhere that people can see before they get on?
Before travelling with us, are you asking, is there any images?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that a lot of the people that I would support wouldn't understand the empty seat concept.
Right.
Would just sit and they'll have places that they're routinely sitting in. Before COVID,
Yes.
some people will want to sit at the very back next to the door. Some people might want to sit at the front next to the window.
Yes.
Habits, so they might need a bit more support understanding that rule.
I think we've got the 5 rules, Sonia. We've done those in a slightly more kind of easy read version, and they could be used just as an additional tool to help people sort of understand. So they'll be available after the conference. They'll be on.
It would be useful to post out to people through the assembly if I want and what have you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking also, so I support 10 different groups of people all over Scotland. So it might be useful. I don't know. I mean, obviously we might not be able to get that group together because it's quite large in Glasgow. But do you offer like this kind of Zoom training for people as well, for groups?
Yeah, I think that's something that we could do. Definitely as a run-off from this.
Yeah. I think you know, in conjunction, I think that the presentation was fantastic because you know, hopefully when we can do it with school groups again, there'll be much more interaction as well. But even just doing it this way, you know, it worked really well. I thought the presentation was fantastic. Kathleen, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, you're still with us. What do you think some of your job coaches would benefit by having known some of this stuff as well? Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously, we would use stations between Montrose and Elgin, so it's a wee bit different, and possibly cannot get support to get on and off trains because sometimes it's over a bridge. So there are obviously rural areas. There are difficulties, but I know from past experience, because I used to run an independent travel project, so I know that ScotRail have assisted as much as they can, and they've tried to make sure if somebody does need a ramp or assistance that they get the train to come on the right side of the platforms, etc. The person may have to wait, but ScotRail have helped in the past because it's a wee bit different being out the sticks.
Didn't we used to dread, Maura, when we got to Dundee, having to change over and
some
run
of the
for that Glasgow train over that bloody bridge.
Running over that bridge
with suitcases and posters and God knows what, you know.
Yes, I can still remember that.
Yeah, same at Inverurie, you get to the one side,
exactly.
think, yeah, the train's coming in this way, and then they go, yeah, it's over the other side, you have to run, you know, up and over.
Exactly. There's some improvements going on, and yeah.
Yeah.